Hello everyone, Xeno What If here. Here to bring in the movie of What If TF2 Mercenaries were sent into the Halo universe. Link down description of the fanfiction of this What If. Listen here YouTube. I do not own anything and this is not a scam. Character 1. Into the future. At the Team Fortress 2, Double Cross. The engineer was working on something secret project among medic of Red Base. Medic to engineer, seems that this project of is some teleportations Jarrett. Engineer to medic, heck yes, besides I was thinking about creating not just a normal teleporter, but interdimensional teleporter that can take us to anywhere. Medic to engineer, first really possible to actually create an interdimensional teleporter Zur Schaffen. Engineer to medic, it certainly seems the project will work. Engineer and medic were continuously working on the interdimension teleporter. The next day came an engineer and medic called everyone. Scout. Yo what's up, what are you eggheads been working up? Engineer to scout. Well you see we've been working about us an amazing invention of ours. Medic to them. Yeah, S-word der interdimensional teleporter that can take us anywhere. Demo man. I'm very interesting for you to smart heads to actually create something rather unique. Soldier. So how does it actually work? Engineer to soldier. Well technically it's the same way we always use the teleporter. Heavy. I see, so we going to teleporter and get ourselves teleport into a different place. Medic to heavy. Das ist richtig mein Freund, this incredible new improved teleported can actually take us anywhere in the multiverse. Spy to engineer, and what would happen if something went wrong? Engineer to spy, and don't worry spy, nothing will go wrong if we're in that new universe. Sniper. I don't know mate, I've seen already you got a bit of a bad feeling on this. Pyro. MMFHP. Engineer to them. Just don't worry guys, everything will work out fine in the end. Heavy. Let's meet going first. Heavy gone to teleport and he got flashed away, and then came spy and soldier, then demoman scout, sniper, pyro, and finally the two engineer and medic. Engineer to medic. Okay partner, let's get ready to test this bad boy out. Medic to engineer. Sicher mein Freund. Medic and engineer were the last two to finally get teleported into his unknown dimension. Halo Universe, Installation 04. The drop pods were coming in fast, crash landed almost near a cliff. The red mercenaries top of teleporting near a lake far away from the crash site. Engineer. Would you look at that boys, the thing work. The red mercenaries of TF2 looked around and realized that there were something off of this place alone. They looked kind of Fallout, they were on some ringworld. Scout. For the first time my life I'm in the last for words. Heavy. I've not seen anything like this before. Sniper. Something you never everyday before. Spy. Seems like we're on some type of ringworld. Medic. None, es scheint, ich sehe so etwas noch nie für meinen Freunden. Seems that this world is certainly seems to be unusual. Engineer. Don't worry guys, whenever we're in trouble we'll actually have a telephone and my machines with me in case of emergencies. Scout noticed a crash pod at the distance. Scout. Hey fellas, I spotted something over there. Scout telling the others he pointed directly at the crash pod that was near the cliff. Spy to scout. Scout, I need you to recon the area if there's anyone still alive. Scout to spy. Sure, got you. Scout ran towards the crash pod, make sure that anyone was there. When the moment he got there he saw a guy in high-tech green armor which surprised him. Scout. Wow, you're really big. Master Chief to Scout. I ask who are you and how did you get here? Scout to Master Chief. Kind of a bit of a long story, and you mind telling us where the heck are we? Master Chief to Scout. So we know that you're on some type of alien ringworld. Scout to Master Chief. Trust me, we're actually on your side. And trust me, my friends are here as well. Master Chief to Scout. Okay then, because hurry up cuz it seems a Covenant ship is coming this way. Scout told every one of the rest of his red team members to tell them to get out of there, the enemies are coming their way, which they did and went away from the crash site. The dropship came in and dropped off a group of Covenant soldiers to scout out the crash area. The Master Chief along with red team made their ways away from the cruise ship without the Covenant scout team not even noticing. However, two Banshees came by, they just ignored it at first try and can't to be spotted, which the two Banshees flew off. Master Chief along with Red Team saw a group of Covenant's elites and Grunt's sniper decided to take out a sniper rifle and started aiming, giving up a few headshots. Master Chief uses assault rifle shooting down the Covenants while Soldier used his rocket launcher destroying each and every one of them. Master Chief was rather impressed by the Red Mercenaries, which they continued going onwards until they saw a group of people as well fight against Covenant near a Forerunner structure. Engineer, well, would you look at that. Heavy, have not seen many of this. Medic, fascinating. Demo man, we should hurry up and help those people down there. Soldier, roger that. Soldier did a rocket jump and shot a lot of rockets into the air and landed on the Forerunner structure, getting the attention of the Marines for someone to actually do a rocket jump, and landed successfully. Heavy and Demo man started plowing down every Covenant soldier and among with sniper doing headshots. The Marines were rather impressed by the Red Mercenaries' combat capabilities and able to take down every one of them Covenant soldiers. After wave and wave of Covenant dropships dropping off Covenant soldiers, Master Chief along with the Red Mercenaries and Marines were able to hold off when the moment two Pelicans came in went to Warthogs for the Red Mercenaries and for Master Chief and the Mercenaries. Scout, well, look at these cool sweet rides. Soldier, I have to admit that this Jeep is rather for a real military personnel. Engineer, I have to admit talk about the engineers of creating this so-called Warthog is rather amazing. Master Chief to the Red Mercenaries, if you guys are done admiring the war dogs we have to get going. The Red Mercenaries, yes sir. The Master Chief along with the red marks on two Warthogs drove off into the caves, took care of the Covenant and activates light bridge to let the two Warthog personnels cross to get the other side. Engineer on the second Warthog was rather intrigued by the technology that seems to be way more advanced compared to anything on Earth. Even Heavy had to admit that the technology was so alien-like and he's never been on some adventure that fought against aliens. Master Chief along with the mercenaries went to 3 other locations to rescue the Marines against the Covenant. At the last location they were able to defend off the place from the Covenant until 2 Pelicans arrived to pick up Master Chief, the Marines and the Red Team mercenaries to rescue Captain Keyes from the Covenant. Character 2, rescuing the Captain. The Pelican came in along with Master Chief, the Marines and Red Team as well. Cortana explained to everyone that Captain Keyes was kept in the ship the Truth and Reconciliation, which everyone got off the Pelican. Master Chief and Sniper decided to do some sniping on the Covenants while Spy stays invisible and do some backstabbing. Master Chief to Sniper whispering, I have to admit you're pretty good with your marksman skills. Sniper to Master Chief whispering, trust me mate, I was always a professional with long-range weapons. The Covenants couldn't even see who was shooting them, but one of the grunts spotted the 2 snipers. Sniper to Soldier, bloody hell, it seems that they spotted us, take them out. Soldier to Sniper, roger that, man move up. Soldier, Heavy, Scout, Demoman and Engineer deployed a sentry plowing down every single one of the Covenants when the moment they're moving on to the next position, even killing down even more and more Covenants like on their way in order to rescue the Captain from the Covenant's hands. After swarms and swarms of Covenant soldiers that they have to face against, they made it to the gravity lift. Spy and Master Chief did their sneaky way as possible. Spy was able to get a few backstabs by grunts, jackals and elites. Medical was able to heal up the wounded Marines, seeing that they were fascinated by medic gun. After killing off against lot of Covenants that were coming from the grav lift, that's when the moment to Hunters came in. Scout, hey fellas, we got ourselves some extreme heavy firepower. Heavy, little man, allow me to take care of this. Medic, charges of 100% ready. Heavy to Medic, charge me, Doc. When the moment the Medic unleashed the Uber charge on Heavy, but 2 of them became unstoppable reckoning force against the 2 Hunters, did not a chance. The Marines and even Master Chief stared at awe and if one of their seeing in front of them. After the Uber charge ran out, all of them made it into the gravelift and went into the center. Seeing that they were ambushed by a group of Covenants, they were able to plow them down like dead flies. Engineer was rather amazed by the giant ship of the Covenant, was kind of like a huge maze. The group tried searching for the Captain. They were able to make a secure for perimeter after defeating against swarms and swarms of Covenant soldiers. However, the group saw where Captain Keyes was being held along with the other Marines. Seen that there were a few grunts, an invisible elite with a plasma sword, Demoman set it up some sticky traps, was able to detonate them, get in the attention of everyone of the UNSC personnels. Demoman, couldn't you see the bloody bombs? The Spartan was able to take out the invisible elite with the plasma sword and walked up the construct and was able to turn off the cells holding UNSC personnels. The chief helps Keys to his feet. Keys, coming here was reckless. You two know better than this. Thanks. Keys and the chief leave the cell. Keys addresses the freed Marines. Keys, Marines, lock and load your weapons, let's be ready to move. Marine POW number 1, okay, sir. Marine POW number 2, yes, sir. The 3 freed Marines, each armed with a Okardafa pattern plasma rifle, assemble in front of the captain. Keys, while the Covenant had us locked up in here, I overheard the guards talking about this ring world. They call it Halo. Keys notice the Red Mercenaries. Keys to the Red Mercenaries, and I'm guessing you must be some new recruits or perhaps. Soldier to Keys, let's just say it's kind of out of a long story. Scout, right now we actually have got to get out of here. Keys to the Red Mercenaries, actually there is some information about this ringworld, but I need to tell you about. Spy to Keys, okay go on tell us the information. Cortana calm, one moment, sir. Accessing the Covenant BattleNet. Pause. According to the data in their networks, the ring has some kind of deep religious significance. If I'm analyzing this correctly, they believe that Halo is some kind of weapon. One with vast, unimaginable power. Keys, then it's true. The Covenant kept saying that whoever controls Halo controls the fate of the universe. Cortana calm, now I see. I have intercepted a number of messages about a Covenant search team, scouting for a control room. I thought they were looking for the bridge of a cruiser that I damaged during the battle above the ring. But they must be looking for Halo's control room. Keys, that's bad news. If Halo is a weapon, and the Covenant gain control of it, they'll use it against us and wipe out the entire human race. Pause. Chief, Cortana and Red Mercenaries. I have a new mission for you. We need to beat the Covenant to Halo's control room. Marines, points to the exit, let's move. Chief alongside the Red Mercenaries were on the front while Keys and the other Marines were on the back. Chief alongside the Red Mercenaries for shooting down many Covenants then got in their way until they got back to the relay point where they saw their fellow Marines dead by 2 invisible elites with plasma swords which the group was able to take out with no sweat. Cortana, we made it. Cortana calm. Cortana to Echo 419 we have the captain and need extraction on the double. Raleigh calm. Negative, Cortana. I've been engaged by Covenant air patrols, and I'm having a tough time shaking them. You'll be better off finding your own ride, sorry. Cortana calm, acknowledged, Foe hammer. Cortana out. Cortana, air support is cut off, Captain. We need to hold here until she can move in. Marine POW number 1, aw, man. We're trapped in here, we're screwed, man. Soldier walked up to the Marine POW number 1 slapped him on the face getting everyone's attention. Soldier to Marine POW number 1. Listen here soldier stop weeping and we need to find a way out of here. Keys, Cortana, if you and the chief can get us into one of those Covenant dropships, I can fly us out of here. Cortana calm, yes, Captain. There's a Covenant dropship still docked. Spy, I agree seen that there was one ship that has been left on guard. Soldier, well it seems we got ourselves a ticket out of here. That's when the door opened and a group of Covenant came in. Heavy, incoming, soldier, attack. Master Chief alongside the Red Mercenaries opened fire on the group of Covenants making their way to the hangar bay of the ship plowing down every single one of the Covenant until nothing was left of them. The Chief releases the dropship from the clamps or opens the shuttle bay doors on the floor below. The Chief presses the holographic buttons. The Spirit dropship shakes. Cortana, that's it. The dropship is loose. The Spirit dropship shifts and opens up its troop bay doors for the Marines and the Red Mercs along with Master Chief got in. Keys, everybody, mount up. Let's get on board. Cortana calm, give me a minute to interface with the ship's controls. Keys, no need. I'll take this bird out myself. A pair of Mgalakgolo exits the doors in front of the Spirit and takes aim at the dropship. Cortana calm, Captain, hunters, Keys, hang on. Keys rams the 2 Mgalakgolo with the dropship. Marine POW number 3, nice one, sir. Scout, Look at you, you just got ran by traffic. Keys. Time for a little payback. The spirit flies out of the hangar. Fade to black. Chapter number 3, Mission Search and Gather Information. Cosmetics for the classes. Demoman Cosmetics. Galaxy Adventurer, Anti-Gravity Gear, Astronauts Accessories. Weapons. Handheld Howitzer, the Bad Trip, the Hollow Heartstopper, the Cosmic Cleaver. Engineers Cosmetics. Machine Head, Armor Suit, Hologram HUD, the Third-Person Shooter, Grapple Gauntlet, Intergalactic Gadgets. Weapons. Tesla Coil, Intergalactic Phaser, Spanner Sword, the Gaiman Texan, the Button, Skirmisher, Sentry Gun, Mini Dispenser, Teleporter. Pyros Cosmetics. Ul Reliable, Phoenix Flight Suit, a Classic Touch, the Space Diver, Jupiter Jetpack. Weapons. The Makeshift Mutilator, the Victorian Blast, Decreaser. Medics Cosmetic. Dr. Gerdbort's Man of Science Pack for Medic. Weapons. Dr. Gerdbort's Man of Science Items. Heavies Cosmetics. Gunmetal Gauntlets, Immobile Suit, Juggernaut Drawers. Weapons. Heavy Artillery, Sandwich, Shotgun, Eviction Notice. Soldiers Cosmetics. Bounty Hunter, Noro's Belt, Spacewalker Sleeves. Weapons. Havoc Attack, Blast from the Past, the Grim Charger. Scouts Cosmetics. Signal Intruder, Astral Accoutrement, Hackjack. Weapons. Tesla Shocker, the Spur, Beam Bat, the Slam Drink. Snipers Cosmetics. Bush Balaclava, Zero-G Sniping Suit, Zero-G Girardi-Proof Boots. Weapons. Intergalactic Gadgets, Meteor Shower, the Heatwave, Merlin's Malady. Spies Cosmetics. Private Eyes, Armored Snake, Stomping Assassin. Weapons. The Victor Ion, the Sci-Fi Slicer, Disguise Case, Explodo Sapper, the Counterfeit, the Piccolo. 2 Pelican dropships, Echo 419, in front, and Bravo 022, in back, approach an island, low over the water. The Master Chief is inside Echo 419. Bravo 022 Pelican at Marines and the TF2 Mercenaries with them. Marines rather confused by the bizarre and odd outfits that the TF2 Mercenaries were wearing. That the Marines were also rather intrigued by the Mercenaries' weapons, seen that they seeing if they were a bit odd, but also cool as well. Cortana. The Covenant believe that what they call the Silent Cartographer is somewhere under this island. The Cartographer is a map room that will lead us to Halo's control center. The island has multiple structures and installations. One of them contains the map room. The Pelican dropships descend on the beach's corner. Covenant troops begin firing at them. Flight Captain Carol Raleigh Com. We're approaching the LZ, it's gonna be hot. Get set to come out swingin'. Touchdown. Hit it, Marines. Marine number 1, pile out. Go, go, go. The UNSC forces alongside TF2 Mercenaries move forward, and eventually, TF2 Marks were able to assist the Unity forces against the Covenant forces. The beach is cleared of Covenant hostiles. Marine number 1, areas secure. All hostiles have been eliminated. Heavy. What Sickman send the baby to fight us? Scout. I know, talk about a few plasma scorches that we got. Sniper. Mentioned that I was able to get a lot of headshots from those alien winkers. Medic. Vergis nicht, das du eigentlich meine Verbündeten bist, that we have a mission to do. Engineer. I agree, fellas, seeing that those alien bastards are still on the island, meaning we have to gather the information. Spy. But it seems we can't just travel on foot. Raleigh Com. Affirmative. Echo 419 inbound. Somebody order a Warthog. Marine number 2 COM. Hey, I didn't know you made house calls, Fohammer. Echo 419 and 2 other Pelicans came in with 3 Warthogs for Master Chief and TF2 Mercenaries. Raleigh Com. You know our motto, we deliver. The 3 Pelicans dropped off the Warthogs and flew off. As the Chief boards the driver's seat of the Warthog, Soldier were on the passenger and Demoman on the turret. The other mercenaries got the other Warthogs and drove off following Chief's Warthog. Among the way they were able to defeat several of Covenant Recounts groups when the moment they managed to make it to the structure. Cortana. There, in the cliff wall, I'll bet the Silent Cartographer is somewhere inside that facility. The groups got out of the Warthogs and went into Destruction Forerunner structure. Luckily they found a small group of Covenant forces and were able to kill them off. However, for the elite was behind the door closed on them. Soldier used Havoc attack, tried firing many rockets directly at the door, but it didn't budge. Engineer, we talk about this door really is made of some strong stuff. Soldier, I have to admit the so-called Forerunner aliens are pretty good at making strong materials. Pyro, yeah, not even my flamethrower won't be able to do anything against the metal like that. Cortana, interesting. I underestimated the Covenant's understanding of Halo's subsystems. They've locked the doors, and we don't have enough firepower to get through them. Cortana calm. Cortana to Keys. Captain Jacob Keys calm. Go ahead, Cortana. Have you found the control center? Cortana calm. Negative, Captain. The Covenant have impeded our progress. We can't proceed unless we can disable this installation's security system. Keys calm. Slight pause, understood. We're still en route to the objective. I may be out of contact when we get there. Pause, here are your orders. I want you to use any means necessary to force your way into the facility and find Halo's control center. We have to get to the center before the Covenant, and failure, people, is not an option. Soldier, you heard the captain. Ladies, get to the war dog double time. TF2 Mercenaries, yes sir. Master Chief along with the TF2 Mercs made their way back to the Warthogs and trying to find another way open the door. Raleigh calm. Echo 419 to ground teams. I'll stay on station and keep an eye out for Covenant bogies. Waller calm. Second squad, ready to roll. Soon as everybody's topside. Marine number 3 COM. LZ looks secure, sir, nothing moving. Keys calm. Good luck, people. Keys out. Cortana, we need to find the security override to get this door open. The three Warthogs of the three groups that were inside of the vehicles found a wreckage of some sort of a dead Marines, however they spotted a group of Covenant recon team of grunts and jackals. Master Chief along with the TF2 Mercs opened fired on the recon team, killing each and every one of the Covenant forces. They made their way deeper within the forest, even though that they ran into a few Covenants until they saw two hunters. Spy turned invisible for not even noticing that the two hunters did not even notice him because he was invisible. Soldier and Demoman were ready with their weapons. Demoman was able to set up a sticky trap with the bad trip. The hunters looked down in order to see the sticky bombs, seen that they were a bit curious on what exactly they were until Demoman pulled the trigger for to go kaboom for the hunters to end up dead. Master Chief was rather impressed by the strategy, as well for Spy was able to backstab a few elites, grunts and jackals. However, some of the Covenant forces noticed the Spy and he ran off cloak. The grunts couldn't tell where he went, seeing that they have never seen a human turn invisible unlike their elites. Unfortunately for the Gron, they got headshotted by sniper. The group continued going into the structure when the moment they got in they saw two more hunters. Medic's Ubercharge was ready, only for Heavy to nod back at Medic. When the moment the two hunters fired a weapon at the duo, the Ubercharge was ready. The two hulking piece were surprised by this. Heavy was able to take down the two behemoths of the Covenant forces. Master Chief was rather astonished and amazed by what Medic was able to do to turn Heavy into invincibility against the two behemoths. TF2 Mercs among with the Master Chief went into the facility until they were able to found the control panel to unlock the door. If the security station is entered before going to the auto-locking door to the cartographer. Cortana, this isn't the map room. Analyzing, pause, this is a security override station for the main facility, located somewhere else on this island. Shut the system down so the Covenant won't be able to lock us out. The Chief shuts down the system. The previously locked door opens to reveal the Sangheili Zealot, who dashes out of the door in surprise, his energy sword at the ready. Cortana, good. That should open the door that leads into the main shaft. Master Chief along with the TF2 Mercs made their way back out, however they had the feeling that they weren't alone. Bravo 022 pilot comm. Mayday, Mayday. Dropship Bravo 022 taking enemy fire. Repeat. We are under heavy fire and are losing altitude. Cortana comm. Understood. We're on our way. A group of stealth Sangheili attempt to ambush the Chief along with the TF2 Mercs. Only for the Pyro to know that there was something invisible, seeing that he was able to take care of a lot of spies in the past on the battlefield, for him to notice the group of stealth Sangheili. Pyro used the makeshift mutilator, scorching the group of stealth Sangheili until the group of elites were nothing more than burnt husk. Master Chief was rather impressed by the Pyro was able to know the stealth elites were there ready for them to kill, they to make their way outside of the structure to see a crashed Pelican with some supplies. Marine bodies and Covenant forces can be seen around it. Cortana, Chief, Bravo 022 was bringing us some heavy weapons. After I saw we were up against hunters, I thought you could use them. Let's move down the beach. Keep an eye out for any cargo we can salvage. Soldier, well it seems so we have to get down there immediately. Master Chief, affirmative. Chief along with the TF2 mercs made their way slowly off the cliff towards the Pelican, guns blazing, killing each and every one of the Covenant recon team. Master Chief grabbed the rockets, especially the rocket launcher. They found 2 warthogs. The groups got on the war dogs immediately to rush back to the control center. When the moment they returned back to the entrance of the cartographer, they were greeted by a group of Covenant forces. Chief along with the TF2 mercs were able to dispose of the group of Covenant forces that were blocking their way. Chief along with the TF2 mercs moves farther down into the facility, wiping out any Covenant resistance. Their moves into the 3rd of 4 levels. Raleigh comm. Foehammer to ground teams, you got 2 enemy dropships coming in fast. Gunnery Sergeant Waller comm. Damn it. Okay, people, we got company coming, let's set the table. Engage enemy forces on site. Cortana comm. It'll be easier to hold them off from inside the structure. Can you get inside? Waller comm. Negative. They're clowing in too fast. Negative. Pause. Chief, you gotta find the cartographer. We'll keep him busy as long as we can. Cortana comm. Give him hell, Marine. Cortana, we'll be in a tight spot if we don't get out of here before additional reinforcements arrive. Let's find that map. The Chief along with the TF2 mercs finally reaches the cartographer, which is guarded by multiple Sentinels. Spy in his cloak was able to backstab one of the elite and was able to headshot the other one with his revolver. Cortana, there. That hollow panel should activate the map. The Chief activates the hollow panel. The cartographer hologram display begins to spin, and the diagram of Halo begins to break into sections. Cortana, analyzing. Halo's control center is located there. That structure appears to be some sort of temple or shrine, if I've interpreted this correctly. Pause. Interesting. A shrine is an unlikely place to put such a significant installation. Spy, well it seems that this is a mission accomplished on actually getting the information. Master Chief, meaning the construct of a shrine within somewhere in this facility. Soldier, meaning that we're going to the need to get the Pelican. Sniper, and for some weird reason I get the feeling that the Covenant won't be able to let us get through. Scout, why won't we just give them a bit of a swing to the head? Heavy, I agree with Scout, it's time for these little alien babies to cry like a little bitches. Cortana comm. Cortana to Captain Keys. No response. Raleigh comm. The captain has dropped out of contact. Cortana. His ship may be out of range or having equipment problems. Cortana comm. Keep trying. Let me know when you've re-established contact, and then tell him that the Master Chief and I have determined the location of the control center. We'll be heading there as soon as we're topside. Raleigh comm. Affirmative. Foehammer out. Covenant reinforcements, including the Sentinel zealots seen previously, have retaken the upper levels of the facility, forcing the Chief along with the TF2 mercs to fight his way back up. The Chief along with the TF2 mercs reaches to the exit of the facility. Any Marines on the Warthog will have been killed by a squad of stealth Sentinels. Pyro was able to burn the squad of stealth Sentinels with the makeshift mutilator. Cortana comm. Cortana to Echo 419. The Chief and I are topside, requesting pickup. Raleigh comm. Roger. On my way. The Pelican arrives. The Chief along with the TF2 mercs boards it. Echo 419 lifts off from the platform and rises quickly, circling the center of the island. Cortana comm. Let's get moving. Foehammer. Here are coordinates and a flight plan I've worked up. Raleigh comm. Cortana, these coordinates are underground. Echo 419 descends into the depths of Halo. Cortana comm. The Covenant did a thorough seismic scan. My analysis shows that Halo is honeycombed with deep tunnels, which circle the whole ring. The structure where the first pair of Mgalakgolo appeared lifts up, revealing a vertical underground tunnel. Echo 419 lowers into it as the structure returns to its original position. Raleigh comm. I hope your analysis is on the money, Cortana. This Pelican won't turn on a dime. Cortana calm. Look on the bright side, Foehammer. The last thing the Covenant will expect is an aerial insertion, from underground. Echo 419 continues to lower through the structure. The top closes with a crash. Fade to black. Chapter number 4, Taking the Control Room. The interior of a large Forerunner dome. Pan down to a long shaft. A single Ongoy miner paces on an open platform. Close up of the walking Ongoy. Other Ongoy are sleeping nearby. He stops as he hears jets, he sniffs the air, and yelps as a pelican rises up from the chasm in front of him, screams and runs towards the door. The TF2 mercs couldn't help but laugh at how the Covenant forces were running away from the pelican. The pelican slowly came in and the chief alongside TF2 mercs when the moment Covenant forces came out of the door and opened fired on them. The elite tried his best but Demoman charges towards him cutting off his head decapitation. The pelican slowly went deeper within the facility on where exactly came out of. The chief alongside TF2 mercs made their way into the facility where they encountered more Covenant forces which they were able to dispose of quickly. Engineer was admiring the structure seeing that this was created by advanced alien civilization. The rest of the TF2 mercs amazed by an ancient alien civilization that was actually been gone for some time for God knows how long. The chief and TF2 mercs emerges onto a bridge, where they discovers that it is snowing. Cortana. Interesting, the weather patterns here seem natural, not artificial. I wonder if the ring's environment systems are malfunctioning, or if the designers wanted the installation to have inclement weather. Scout. For the first time in my life I'm lost for words. Demoman. You look at that now. Engineer. Interesting, either of this weather is real or artificial. Spy noticed a few grants that were sleeping however tried to stealth and backstabbing each and every one of the Covenants however only to fail to realize that some of them have noticed a UNSC Pelican flying by above the bridge. Fireteam Zulu Sergeant Com. This is Fireteam Zulu requesting immediate assistance from any UNSC forces. Does anyone copy? Over. Cortana. I didn't think there were any human forces left on this part of the ring. Cortana Com. Cortana to Fireteam Zulu, I read you. Fireteam Zulu, this is Cortana. Hold position. We're on our way. Fireteam Zulu Sergeant Com. Roger that. Make it quick. The Pelican descends to the area below the bridge. The chief and TF2 mercs made a mad dash only for them to kill any Covenant force that got on their way, slaughtering them like animals. However, only for a Sanghali zealot runs out of a door at the opposite side of the bridge and awaits the chief and TF2 mercs. Only for Demoman to block the blade of the energy sword with his sword. Sanghali zealot and Demoman had an epic sword battle with their melee weapons. Only for Demoman to give up a head swing, chopping off the head of the Sanghali zealot with the cosmic cleaver. For the cryptic continue going into the facility, where more and more Covenant forces are in the way, only for them to shoot them down and made their way to the ground level, where he returns to the snow canyon. A large number of Covenant have 3 Marines with an overturned Warthog cornered. More dead Marines lie nearby. A Covenant Wraith tank fires plasma mortars as shade turrets and ghost vehicles strafe the Marines. Scout running towards the ghost, jumping on the vehicle only to stab in the head with his beam bat, for him to kick the dead elite off the ghost to gain control of Covenant vehicle. The Marines were rather impressed for Scout able to take out elite and use the vehicle against the Covenant. Medic rushing towards only injured Marines that were actually near the flipped over Warthog. Demoman, Sniper, Soldier, Heavy were trying to cover the medic from Covenant fire. Medic got out his medic gun and was able to heal the mercenaries, thing that they were even surprised for someone like him to build a machine that can actually heal people. After when every single of the mercenaries were able to take out the last remaining Covenant along with their armored vehicle. Master Chief ran off, all need for a scout in the ghost to chase after him. The rest of the other Marines also followed the 2 of them as well. The TF2 merc saw the flipped over Warthog and decided to take it for spin. Engineer, Soldiers, Demoman, Heavy, Pyro, Medic, Sniper and Spy, for all of them to fit in the Warthog. When the moment they got to where Master Chief was, they were surprised tank that he was able to found the Scorpion tank demolishing coming in forces. Pyro looked directly at the crashed Pelican to find another Warthog there. Medic, Sniper and Spy also saw the other Warthog that was near the Pelican and decided to take it as well. Engineer was able to grab a few Covenant weapons to reverse engineer it to create weapons for UNSC and put the weapons in the toolbox of his and got back onto the Warthog and drove off with everyone else. Master Chief inside of the Scorpion tank was able to take out the 2 Covenant tanks from above and on the ground, and especially the hunters as well that came from in the Forerunner structures. The Chief and the TF2 Mercs crosses the cavern and exits into another tunnel, which soon turns into a rocky slope heading upwards. Engineer was rather amazed by how some ancient civilization was able to build so many stuff like this and randomly disappeared without a trace, such a router unknown mystery with unknown answers or questions. The Chief and the TF2 Mercs were able to manage to make their way outside of the cave and were able to annihilate any Covenant forces that came in their way within their vehicles and their weapons along with their marine allies. The Chief and the TF2 Mercs clears the area of Covenant, including another Wraith and 2 Mgalakgolo. Fireteam Zulu Sergeant, you monkeys almost look like golden boys. Marine, damn straight. Demoman, those bloody bastards think that they're all tough but they always act like a bunch of pussy. Scout, you can say that again, Demoman. The Chief and the TF2 Mercs comes across 2 more Mgalakgolo chasing after a squad of Marines, where the path switches back and goes down to a frozen river leading to the cave to the last area of the second chasm. Cortana, I thought the Covenant had eliminated all the Marine forces in this area. After the Chief and the TF2 Mercs engages and defeats the Mgalakgolo, a Covenant spirit appears from behind the cliffs and drops in on the ridge he just descended from. Marine number 1 whispers, "Hey, anybody else hear that? Aw, man, Covenant dropship inbound, take cover. Sniper, I'll be able to snipe some of them down." Sniper was able to take aim with his shooting star, was able to do a few headshots on elite and was able to kill some grunts and jackals. Soldier, good headshots, Sniper. Sniper gave him a thumbs up. No worries, mate. The Chief and the TF2 Mercs nears some switchbacks leading up to final area of the second chasm. Marine number 2, Master Chief, the Covenant have stationary guns dug up in those rocks. Spy, don't worry gentlemen, I'll be taking care of them. Spy was able to cloak and ran off, only for the rest of the group to wait for Spy backstab grunts, jackals, elites. Spy was able to get them clearing, however only for the Banshee to notice him, so him was able to cloak the Banshee couldn't able to pick on the target, see that he was cloaked. Banshee tried looking for a Spy only to get hit by 2 rockets by Soldier, only for the Banshee to get hit by the final rocket until it got blown up in flames. The Master Chief alongside with the TF2 Mercs approach a door in the cliffs. Cortana calm, Cortana to Fire Team Zulu. I've sent a distress signal tagged with your current position. Hold your position and await evac. The Master Chief and Mercs are going to continue on ahead. Soldier, see you later, comrades. Marine number 4, Roger, good luck. The Chief and the TF2 Mercs battles his way through more interior areas and across 2 more bridges. In the last room, the Chief kills a pair of Mgalakgolo and a mixed group of Ongoy and Kigyar and finds another door. Cortana, resistance appears to be increasing. We must be close to the control center. The Chief and the TF2 Mercs reaches a door to the third chasm. Covenant infantry patrols the rock bridge he is on, and a massive structure can be seen on his left. Engineer, well, isn't that something you never see every day? Scout, oh, there's one problem, how the hell are we going to get all the way over to that massive structure? Soldier, yeah, it certainly seems that this isn't going to be easy. The TF2 Mercs saw there were 2 Banshees that were still there. Sniper was able to take aim with his shooting star, took in a headshot at the elite near the Banshee, only for the rest of the Covenant squad to panic. Only for Master Chief to charge at the other elite, almost reaching for the other Banshee, knocking him out when its pistol and got into the matching flew off. TF2 Mercs got on top of the Banshee only for Engineer to drive it and crashed into the structure only with a little bit of damage within its, only for Chief to land alongside. Master Chief opens the door, only to be greeted by a group of Covenants among with the Sangheili Zealot. Only for Master Chief and TF2 Mercs were able to slaughter that group and made their way to the final door. Cortana, this is it. Halo's control center. The Master Chief and TF2 Mercs walks through the door into a control panel at the center of a circular glass walkway projecting into the middle of a massive open chamber. A holographic map of Halo surrounds a smaller holographic map of the system, which shows basis and threshold, and Halo itself between them. Also noticeable are the red areas shown on the lands of Halo, possibly indicating where the flood is currently spreading. TF2 Mercs were admiring control room of Installation 04. Scout. Talk about. Way past cool. Spy. Even pretty much advanced and stylist. Cortana. That terminal, try there. The chief unplugs Cortana's chip from his helmet and places her chip in the terminal. TF2 Mercs turn around for them to see Cortana in her holographic form of the control room. Scout. Well damn, so that's what you look like. Engineer. I wonder you weren't actually an AI, how very interesting. Spy. So are you okay? Cortana. Never been better. You can't imagine the wealth of information. The knowledge. So much. So fast. It's glorious. Demoman. Well, it seems our little AI lady is having rid of a good mood. Heavy. Dat, but right now we need to focus on the main objective. Medic. Zats. That's right. Master Chief. So, what sort of weapon is it? Cortana. What are you talking about? Spy. About this ringworld called Halo. Is this thing some type of weapon to use against the Covenant, I presume? Cortana. This ring isn't a cudgel, you barbarian, it's something else. Scout whispers. Well, it seems we got it on her bad side. Asterisk. Cortana. Something much more important. The Covenant were right, this ring, it's Forerunner. Give me a second to access. Yes, the Forerunner built this place, what they called a fortress world, in order to. No, that can't be. TF2 Mercs noticed something wasn't right when the moment Cortana paused midway, when the moment Spy was at the same something. They all noticed that an AI did not do something, but only she felt fear. Which engineer knew that the female AI was afraid of something? Cortana. Oh, those Covenant fools, they must have known, there must have been signs. Soldier. Well now, just calm down. Scout. Yeah, it's almost like you're having a bit of a panic attack. Master Chief. Slow down. You're losing us. Cortana. The Covenant found something, buried in this ring, something horrible, and now, they're afraid. TF2 Mercs kind of felt an edge when the moment Cortana said that the Covenant found something buried. They know that they fought against wizards, the Headless Horseman, even robot version of themselves. TF2 Mercs still felt a bit on edge. That's what made the Covenant scared. Find something buried on this ring. Master Chief. Something buried. Where? Cortana. The captain. We've got to stop the captain. Master Chief. Keys. What do we? Cortana. The weapons cache he's looking for. It's not really, we can't let him get inside. Master Chief and Cortana could say anything more with the arguments escalating, only for Engineer to yell at the two of them, stop. Engineer knew something really bad might have actually happened to Captain and his crew that were searching for the weapons cache. He had an idea to split them into two groups. Engineer, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic go with the cheek to investigate where Captain Keys is, while the rest of us stay on guard. Scout. Okay, we'll do that. Sniper. Well, this is just getting interesting. Chief along with Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic ran out of the control room, calling up Pelican to pick them up to find the last known location of Captain Keys. Back at the control room. Heavy, Soldiers, Demoman and Engineer kind of had a bit of a bad feeling about this. Chapter number 5, The Nightmares Lurking. Group of Kigyar and Ungoi running in fear of something through a swamp. As it pans over them, the outline of a Pelican dropship can be seen through the fog and rain. Raleigh Com. The last transmission from the captain's dropship was from this area. That was over 12 hours ago. The Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic got out of the Pelican, entered the creepy swamp. Sniper couldn't help but like the swamp reminded him of sometimes being on Australia on Earth hunting for animals. However, for Scout and Spy did not really like this type of terrain on the ring. Scout. Seriously, they could have built it anywhere, but in a freaking swamp. Spy. I know what you're saying, but right now we have our mission objective. Let me do some recon while you go ahead and scout out some other areas. Master Chief. Okay, sounds like a pretty good plan. As the Pelican that dropped and left out of the trees of the swamp. Spy looked for anything that could have been for the captain, however to his surprise and shock and horror there was a crashed Pelican. Spy. Everyone come over here. Everyone came towards where Spy wasn't even. They were shocked to see one of their Pelicans destroyed with supply scattered all over the place with a voice message repeated. Victor 933's pilot recording, dropship Victor 933, static, Pillar of Autumn, static, need assistance. We are under static, attack by some new kind of hostile, static, isn't Covenant. Static, Captain Keyes has been captured by hostiles. Static, dug in at a large structure in a swamp, static, we need to pull out. Please, static, I will set this message to repeat at, static, regular intervals. Dropship Victor 933, clear. This made Scout, Spy, Sniper, Medic, and even Pyro felt a bit on edge of what the recording said by it wasn't the Covenant, but a new hostile. Scout. A new hostile, but not even Covenant. Spy. So it seems that there was some new enemy that captured Captain. Sniper. The real question is the recording didn't say anything about this new enemy, mates. Not to mention they noticed that there weren't any bodies, which made them felt a bit more on edge. Medic. That's strange, there seems to be no bodies. That seems to be strange. Pyro muffling speaking. That's easy for you guys to say, it feels like that where I can some type of horror movie. Scout. Yeah, you're right about that, mumbles. This does feel like some type of horror movie of a swamp monster lurking around. Sniper. Come on now, Twinkle Toes, you don't think that there could actually be a swamp monster to actually took the captain to you? Scout. I mean, I'm not assuming. I kind of weird feelings, all of this seems to make us felt on edge. Spy. I know this rather feels a bit something within a horror movie, but I know that this new enemy couldn't be something like the Covenant. If it could be another alien factor, then probably the UNSC would have known. The chief among with his recon team looked around when the moment surprised to come across a crashed Covenant spirit. Scout. Okay, this is rather unexpected for a group of Covenants actually leave something be crashed in the middle of a swamp. Spy. Yes, this is rather a bit unusual for the Covenant to do something like this. Sniper. I know, but this is rather unusual even for the Covenant. Do you think they actually just hit some type of tree on the way when the moment they were landing? Scout. You might be writing that the little guys don't even know how to drive. The chief among with his recon team heard a small group of Ongoy and Kigyar, which they quickly eliminates. The chief among with his recon team, until Sniper stops, which everyone did for some weird reason. Why Sniper stopped? Scout. What's wrong? Another group of Covenants waiting for us behind the bend. Sniper. No. Scout, use your new headgear features. Scout. Gotcha. Scout used the headgear called Signal Intruder to detect any heat signature of human or Covenant in the area. However, to a surprise, he did see an unknown figure on top of the tree trunk. Sniper. Well, mate, what exactly do you see? Scout. Well, for some weird reason, Signal Intruder. On top of the cliff of the tree bridge, however this unknown individual seems to be unknown. Medic. You think it could be a friendly marine that we stumble upon? Scout. I don't think so, it detected this figure unknown. Spy. I'm guessing that this must be the hostile or maybe some native of the ring. Scout. Probably could be a primitive human. Medic. Za, could be an possibility for that the hostiles could be primitive humans. Scout slowly getting closer to the position, only just please gun to his holster. Scout. Hey there, fellow human of the ring. We come in peace, so try not to harm us. The shadow we figured to not reply in turn and ran away to everyone's shock. Master Chief. I'm not even sure if that was actually even human. Scout. How would you know? I mean, this hostile can be human and could be some other unknown factor. Master Chief. There's no way that the instruction could have been on this ring. That means we are dealing with an unknown factor. Sniper. Well, listen to that, bloody fantastic, mates. Spy. I know, gentlemen, and do you forget the feeling that we're being watched by multiple angles? What Spy said made it everyone else felt more on edge, that they were being watched by an unknown factor. Scout. Jesus fucking Christs, Spy. We don't want to jinx this any more further, as if we want to. Master Chief. Not to mention our raiders have been detecting some friendly activity across the area. Sniper. You don't say, but why run away from them if they could have joined us? That seems rather suspicious. Pyro. Almost the whole thing could have been a trap. Scout. I mean, you might be onto something, mumbles. See if there are Covenants among what their ship crashed. This could be some type of trap set by the Covenant. Master Chief. I highly doubt that. Even if the Covenant did set up a trap, that doesn't mean that they aren't that intelligent. Spy. I know, let's get a move on. Master Chief and his little recon team continued moving onto the mountains until they saw more shadowy figures watching them until running off somewhere in the distance, which made them felt a bit creeped out. Scout. Okay, Swamp. Shadowy figures definitely feels like they were in some horror movie. Sniper. Quit your whining, twinkle toes. Probably all follow Marines are actually just spooked out. Scout. Yeah, right. The one thing that really doesn't make any sense at the crash site of the Pelican is that there weren't any bodies, so that seems a bit suspicious and creepy. Pyro muffling voice. Yes, certainly seems that there hasn't been any elite as well with the Covenant group. Scout. Yeah, another thing to point out, a company group should have had 1 or 2 elites with them, but instead we ran into grunts and jackals. Doesn't that seem rather a bit off? Medic. Saw that lady a bit weird for the Covenant to actually unify their own truce, or maybe one of Z missing. Spy. Everyone be quiet. Do you hear that? Master Chief and everyone else heard some gunshots and explosions. When the moment they got closer they saw grunts and shackles running out of the Forerunner structure with some bullets and explosions. That's one of the turrets squashed a jackal and a grunt. Scout. So our friendly Marines were able to take care of some of the small group of Covenants that are running out of the structure like little sissies. Spy. No, that doesn't seem right at all for them to run out of the structure unless if they were afraid. Sniper. Fixing to go, so probably aliens might have actually gives us the answers. Medic. Unless Zat won't be able to ask us nicely. Spy. Then perhaps that we're going to have to interrogate one of them. Master Chief and his little recon team going towards group of Covenants and killing until one grunt was left. Grunt. Please don't hurt me. Scout grabbed the grunt by the neck, and gave a look of a death glare to it. Scout. You better start talking. Squeak. You mind telling us what the hell is going on here? Sniper. For example, whatever happened to your so-called pals, mate? Spy. And by telling us, why are you afraid? The grunt was still scared and confused, but they knew why they were here and still had fear within his soul. Grunt. Please don't go in there are monsters lurking within the structure. Master Chief and his little recon team looked at each other, were confused look, either if the Covenant were under insane or perhaps drunk. Sniper. Oi. Mate, you were gone bloody crazy, or perhaps you're just completely insane just like the rest of your pals that we killed. Scout. And as if there were any other monsters crawling around this place, it might have been some other third faction that we might have never came across. Spy. But then again, we can actually use you as a bit of a hostage. Grunt. Please don't take me back into the structure. I'll do anything for you. I'll give you the information of our military tactics or anything. This rather surprised the group, for the grunt to actually telling them he can do anything for them in a scared tone. Scout. Okay, this is rather new even for us. Sniper. Since when did the Covenant actually wanted to hand us information, even though that a little pipsqueak like him is actually going to give us the information? Spy. Heck if I know, but whatever scared him really scarred him for life. Medic and Pyro checking around for any sign of where the gunshots and explosions came from. However, they found shells of bullets. Medic and Pyro returned to the others, interrogating the grunt. Spy. Well, gentlemen, did you find anything of interest while you were in the structure? Medic. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Zat, the two of us found out that Z's no sign of nobody when the moment we looked for people of responsible or scaring out your friends. Grunt. Please, I beg, if you do not go in there, the monsters lurk and feast upon their corpses, and then you'll become one of them. When the moment Grant said that, everyone looked at as if he was crazy or completely gone off the end, but it made them even more on edge. Scout. Yeah, right. Made them became zombies, right, as if that was an impossible. Spy. Well, for now we'll have to keep him beside us the time being, or perhaps we can kill him now. Sniper. I say we can kill the little bastard for all we care. Only for Sniper to get out his weapon and shoot the grunt, ending his life. Spy. Even though he was willing to sacrifice information, you just want to shoot him. Sniper. For one, I think we should not take him aboard for a hostage. You might actually try to do something, as if you spies would say, backstabbers in the end. Spy. It seems you have learned a lot from watching us betray our own comrades. Scout. Well, let's go down there. If our fellow comrades are still down there, whatever spooked the Covenants out. Pyro muffing voice. Go deeper into the facility to find out what in the world is going on. Medic. That seems like a good idea for us to actually move in and study the facility. The rest of them did have no other option but to go into the facility, unknown to them that some spear was actually looking at them from a far distance in the swamp and floated away. Master Chief and his little recon team went into the structure and got on the elevator that took them into the facility, where they encountered grunts and Jackal, killing them. Master Chief and his little recon team passes through several large rooms and many smaller ones inside the structure, filled with Ungoi, Kigyar, empty shade turrets, discarded weapons, and dead bodies, both Marine and Covenant. Curiously, there is no sign of any Sanghaili, alive or dead. Master Chief and his little recon team kind of felt a bit uneasy by the atmosphere around them. Scout nervously, you forget the feeling that you're being watched by multiple angles. Spy, I know as well, trust me, this weird feeling I have tells us to run out of this place. Sniper, come on mates, we have dealt with far worse spooks like Marasmus. The Islander, especially a headless horseman, there's no way a new kind of spook would actually come and try to spook us out. Scout, you might be right Sniper, but this one feels a lot different. Pyro, muffling voice, I know what you're getting at, and trust me, I can feel the address around feels a lot uneasy, not to mention there hasn't been any elite that we have run into, a lot of grunt and jackals. In one room, the chief and his little recon team discovers a strange green-yellow substance falling from the ceiling. Scout, what the hell is that stuff? Sniper, I have no clue, mate. Medic went to the green and yellow substance in order to collect it and put it in a jar to examine it. Scout, what are you doing? Have you lost your damn mind? Who knows if that stuff is contaminated? Medic, how would you know? Besides, you're not Zat's doctor. Scout, I know. I'm just a bit concerned. That's. Spy, Scout, what is wrong with you? Have you really gone paranoid? Scout, I told you find all of this weird, a crashed pelican, not to mention some shadowy figures that are watching us, and not also that there hasn't been a single elite we came across. All of this seems rather a bit sus, that we might actually be falling into some type of death trap. Sniper, okay mate, it seems that we have actually managed to got ourselves a lot of red flags. Master Chief, I agree as well, all of this certainly seems to make all of us feel on edge. Before we know it, the captain and the crew still here somewhere. Scout, sighs, I know, it's just that I have this weird feeling that something is going to happen. Spy, yeah, I really hope the other is alright. Back at the control room of the ice area of the ring, Demoman and Soldier were outside of the door of the entrance of the control room. Soldier was asleep when the moment he got up felt a bit of a shiver down his spine. Demoman, lad, you're finally awake. Soldier, it was nothing, I have this weird shiver down my spine. Demoman, don't worry mate, I bet our lads will be fine. Soldier, yeah, I really hope so. Back inside of the Forerunner structure, a lone Marine sits leaning against a wall, M6D Magnum pointed at them. Paranoid Marine, stay back. Stay back, you're not turning me into one of those things. I'll blow your brains out. Get away from me. Scout, dude, calm down, lower your weapon. Sniper, yeah, what the bloody hell is wrong with you? Spy, and what in the world do you mean by turning you into one of those things? Paranoid Marine, gah, don't touch me, you freaks. I won't be like you, I'll die first. Find your own hiding place, the monsters are everywhere. The moment Paranoid Marine said monsters, just like what the grunt said, had second thoughts about it, but still shoved it off. Spy had enough of the crazy Marine's antic and decided to end it his life. Scout, Spy, you didn't really have to do that, he was still one of our allies. Spy, I know, but seeing that he's gone and lost his mind off the deep end, there's nothing we can do. Medic, whatever Zat's monsters are, they really have gone and heard about mentally and physically. Sniper, no kidding, talk just couldn't get any weirder. Scout, but seriously, there's something damn wrong about this. First, the Marine and the grunt said that they were monsters lurking around. And trust me, we're not some monster hunters, but I do get the heebie-cheese already. Sniper, you're right about that. I can feel the shivers down my spine enough as it is compared to fight against harassment. This one gives me the spooks. Spy, for the time being we're going to have to investigate for anything before moving on the next area. All of them agree, started searching around the area. When the moment they did, they noticed dead Covenants and Marines, especially what surprised in the most was an elite, however its chest was ripped out. Scout, Jesus fucking Christ, what the hell happened to this guy? Sniper, I see many things before, but this is a whole other level. Medic using his headgear to examine the corpse of the elite, and with that he was able to found out to his shock that it was the same green substance. Medic. Well, mein Freund, it seems you might be right, because it seems the corpse of this elite actually has the same substance just like the one that was found earlier. Give me a moment to analyze it. Medic using his headgear to analyze the substance within the body of the elite, and to a shock and horror he witnessed the blood cells with the green substance started to mutate them. Medic. Well, scouts, it seems you might be right, this substance could be a virus of some sort. Get shocked everyone even further that the green substance was some type of virus. Spy. What else can you tell us about this virus? Medic. Well, it seems DOS virus has the ability to mutate the cells within the body into something. Chief was rather shocked by the new information that he was got by Domedic, but that wondered if he put the pieces together clicked. Master Chief. So the weapons cache was some type of virus. Scout. Well, maybe. And you heard recording right, Keys has already been captured, so there's no point if he's even here already. Master Chief remembered the recording of the message kept on repeating that Captain Keys was actually captured by the unknown enemy, if it could have been some virus. Master Chief realized that there is no other option but to leave the facility, seeing there was pointless that Keys might have already been captured. However, somewhere else deep within the facility, a locked door with a code pad of some sort, only for a shadowy figure looming over it. Only for the figure to smash the door open with brute strength, it only let out an inhumane scream. With Chief and a small recon team also heard the screeches of the human screeches and roars. Scout. What the hell was that? Sniper. I'm guessing that must be the new hostiles. Pyro muffling voice. I agree, right now we should find exits immediately. Master Chief and his small recon team continued making their way to the elevator, however only be destroyed. Scout. God damn it. Sniper. Bloody hell. Spy. That's really, there has to be an alternate way. There must be more than just one elevator. Medic. That's might be right, seeing that could be more than one entrance. Master Chief. You might be right about that, there has been alternate exit for us. Master Chief and his small recon team arrives at another elevator, but it goes deeper underground and Ungoy blood is seen painted on the elevator's shaft. To their surprise that they are got themselves attacked by armed combat forms, both infected Sangheili and humans. This detour forces him to fight their way back up. After killing combat forms of the elite and humans, the group had a lot of questions raising to your minds. Scout. Seriously, what the hell is even going on here? Spy. I know what you mean, seeing that this is something far beyond our leaks. Medic, you said that substance was a virus. Not to make you change stuff, blood cells, or might have mutated it. Medic. Well, perhaps that might actually be the true after all. Scout. Don't tell me this facility is some type of lab that has some dangerous virus. Pyro muffling voice. So why would you even with some type of virus like zombie-like? Scout. What we're dealing with an alien virus, is if this wasn't worse enough with the Covenant, but now this. Medic. Well, actually I am trying to run a few tests on the virus to find a cure. Scout. Can I borrow your bonk? Scout. Okay, sure, you can have one. Scout tossed Medic a bonk can. Medic was able to feel the bunk with the substance. Using his headgear he was able to figure out that the bonk had some special immunity for the virus that was able to cure the person. Medic. Well, it seems that your bonk might actually be the cure for the virus. Scout. Okay, that might actually be some good news for once on our time. Master Chief. Well, that's some good news that we actually have a cure just in case any one of us are infected. Sniper. So right now we need to exit the facility. Master Chief and his small recon team reaches the final elevator and rises to an exit from the structure. Raleigh Com. This is Echo 419. Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro, Medic, is that you? I lost your signal when you disappeared inside the structure. What's going on down there? I'm tracking movement all over the place. Scout. Let's just say it's a long story. Sniper. Yeah, I seen it. This is going to be available, something you're not going to believe. Master Chief and his recon team reaches the top where a trapped group of 10 Marines are holding out. It is obvious they used a lot of ammo to escape, and it is all stacked in a pile. Most Marines hold shotguns and assault rifles, one or two have plasma rifles. Scout. So seems the Marines were actually waiting on the other side of the facility. Sniper, bloody hell, for them to find any other exit. Chips Dubbo, sir, thank God you're here, we've been lost out here for hours. After we lost contact with the rest of the mission, we headed for the RV point, and then these things, they ambushed us. We've gotta get out of here. Flight Captain Raleigh Com, there's a large tower a few hundred meters from your current position. Find a way above the fog and foliage canopy and I can move in and pick you up. Pyro muffled voice, sounds like a plan unless it does zombie-like creatures don't get us first. Medic, don't worry, mein Freund. I'm able to have a cure or you could say a vaccine. Marine number 1, I got some good news for us to finally have a cure to be turned back to normal if we were infected. Spy, gentlemen we should get going immediately. The Marine squad eagerly follows Master Chief and his recon team outside, where the flood close in from all sides. Some Marines are attacked by pod infectors, and their allies are forced to shoot them. As Master Chief and his recon team comes near the tower Raleigh was speaking of, an odd blue object and a flotilla of floating robotic automatons descend from the mist. Sniper, well that's something you don't see every other day. Scout, I wish Engineer was here to see these weird-looking robots. Spy, well now I'm guessing that must be some type of security system. The robots begin to slice away at any nearby flood with built-in energy beams, avoiding the Marines. After a few seconds of fighting around the base of the tower, Master Chief and his recon team suddenly finds themselves enveloped in a bright gold light, and then appears on top of one of the legs of the tower. The blue object hovers in front of him. The Chief and his recon team instinctively points their weapon at it. 343 Guilty Spark, greetings. I am the monitor of Installation 04. I am 343 Guilty Spark. Scout. Okay then. Spy, it seems you must be the one that actually teleport us here. 343 Guilty Spark, indeed I have to admit, that reclaimers like you came. Sniper, reclaimers. The Chief and his recon team slowly lowers his assault rifle. Gunfire is still heard below, and bright beams slice through the dark swamp. The Chief and his recon team, the monitor ignore the commotion. Medic, you're rather one interesting specimens on lactose so-called Sentinels. Pyro muffling voice, yeah I wonder how they can create robots like him isn't that they're wearing more advanced computer Greyman's robots. Scout, teleported all of us up here for some reason. Spy, continue for what you have to say 343. 343 Guilty Spark, someone has released the flood. My function is to prevent it from leaving this installation. But I require your assistance. Come, this way. Scout in mind, I don't like where this is going. The Chief and his recon team, the monitor vanish in another series of gold flashes. Raleigh Com, Chief, I've lost your signal. Where'd you go? Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro, Medic. Chapter number 6, Getting the Key. The view flies through the main central chamber of the installation, through a rotating doorway, to find 343 Guilty Spark and the Master Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic teleporting in. 343 Guilty Spark, we must collect the index before we can activate the installation. Scout thoughts on his knees and start throwing up from the teleportation. Scout, god damn it, don't ever do that ever again. I'm used to engineers teleporting but this kind of teleporting makes my inside goes out. Sniper, quit your whining. 343 Guilty Spark, seems by teleportation ability is not meant for people like you to handle. Scout, I mean, I'm used to other types of teleportation devices, but yours is rather advanced. 343 Guilty Spark, well it seems it's on my fault seeing that you were rather an insufficient weapon that you use against your enemy, but we first engineer your enemy's weapons to create your own weapons. How fascinating. Spy, trust us, our text and friend actually was the one who were able to customize our weapons and reverse engineer to Covenant weapons. 343 Guilty Spark, yes I have to admit now that shall we proceed to retreat the index. Medic, oh yes we almost forgot. Scout, so tell me light bulb, where is the so-called index? 343 Guilty Spark, why do you index up there completely covered in a burying dorm and we need to take some levels up to get to it? Sniper, bloody hell that means we're going to go against those zombies. Medic, Meaning that I'm guessing Scout that's you're going to be the first test subject for this antidote. Scout. I really hope so, because if it doesn't work then kill me. Spy. Will do my fast compadre. 343 Guilty Spark is rather amazed of what he just heard, that these humans were able to come with a cure for the flood. Not even fascinating further. Master Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic encountered many various flood forms and combat forms, taking them out one by one like ants. Sniper. Bloody hell, there's no end for these little winkers. Scout. Yeah, talk about these guys like a swarm of ants. Spy. I know, right now we need to get to the index as quickly as possible. Master Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic encountered two flood pure form. At first the two infection forms had the upper advantage for Pyro, only to burn them to a crisp. Pyro muffling voice. Okay, those ones were new. 343 Guilty Spark. Oh my, I forgot to mention about these other flood forms that might be wandering around the facility. The pure form, Juggernaut form, Tank form, Pod Infector, might actually be roaming around someplace in the facility. Scout. God damn. And I could tell this is a lot way more into a horror seeing that we're in. Sniper. Yeah, talk about these things really do not take a lot of a whole level of horror compared to Marasmus. Spy. Right now we should continue and take a turn over here. The Chief reaches, and goes through one of the rotating doors. Master Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic emerges into the large central chamber. Flood forms emerge behind the walls and approach the Master Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic. 343 Guilty Spark. The energy field above us contains the index. We must get up there. Spy. That explains that we must go up to the top. Scout. And I'm guessing that this place has an elevator. Master Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic comes to a huge locked door. The Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic and Spark move into the next hallway. The Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic continues to fight the flood. 343 Guilty Spark. Puzzling. You brought such ineffective weapons to combat the flood, despite the containment protocols. Scout. Well, that's coming from the light bulb such as yourself. 343 Guilty Spark. My word, such vile words to say to someone like me that was built by the Forerunners. Sniper. Of course we know what you're saying, spark plugs. Spy. And for your calculations and numbers, our weapons were reversed engineering of Covenant weaponry. Medic. That's right, seriously, I think you really are, oh high and mighty. The Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic under Spark's lead, fights through the facility. 343 Guilty Spark. The flood must not escape the installation. They consume all. Scout. We know that, so now we can't allow them to get off Halo. 343 Guilty Spark. That is correct, and that is why we must activate the defense system. Sniper. A defense system, you say? How very interesting. Spy. That's the one thing that actually concerns some of us. They continue through the facility, going through another hallway. 343 Guilty Spark. You can see how the body has been transformed by the genetic restructuring of the flood infection. The small creatures carry spores that cause a host to mutate. The mutated host then produces spores that can pass the flood to others. It is insidious and elegant. As long as any hosts remain, the flood is virulent. Scout. Wow, and I thought I talked more compared to this light bulb. Spy. I know, but seeing that we might have accidentally unleashed the threat that is greater against humanity's extinction. 343 Guilty Spark. That is correct, you have no idea on how much the parasite could have done if they would have made it to your planet. That is why we must activate Halo's defenses. Sniper. Well, that sounds like a pretty good shot, mate, for actually come out with the defenses on this ring world. Spy. Still, I have a bad feeling that something might actually not be right about him. The Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic fights through yet another hallway. 343 Guilty Spark. We must continue. This way, please. They go further down another hallway. 343 Guilty Spark. This installation's research facilities are most impressive. Perhaps we'll have time to see them later. Spark sends a group of aggressor Sentinels to assist the Chief alongside Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic. 343 Guilty Spark. These Sentinels will supplement your combat system. But I suggest you upgrade to at least a Class 12 combat skin. Your current model only scans as a Class 2, which is ill-suited for this kind of work. Scout. I can see why for containment operate like this. Sniper. Of course someone like you couldn't be able to handle something like this on your own. 343 Guilty Spark. Of course we need all the help we could get in order to contain this outbreak. Spy. I know, seeing that the Covenants were the first one to break out this containment. Pyro muffling voice. Yeah, I could see why that those called Sentinels tried their best against the outbreak. Medic. I agree, but luckily there's no need for asking that I've been able to use a bit of a prototype of the vaccine that I created. The Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic nears the first platform lift. 343 Guilty Spark. Pardon me. A plasma conduit breach in Section 5.5.2.4 has disrupted power flow to a gravity maintenance assembly. Repairs require my attention. I will return soon. Scout felt a bit annoyed by Guilty Spark's antics of talking. Spy kind of felt a bit guilty for unleashing a dangerous parasitic being such as the Flood, but however he didn't trust Guilty Spark. Sniper, Pyro and Medic also felt the same thing as well of not trusting the light bulb. The Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic rides the first lift to the second floor. They move a short distance down the first hall of the second floor. 343 Guilty Spark. Flood activity has caused a failure in a drone control subsystem. I must reset the backup unit. Please, continue on. I will rejoin you when I have completed my task. The monitor leaves temporarily, and soon returns to the Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic with the door open. 343 Guilty Spark. The Sentinels can use their weapons to manage the Flood only for a short time. Speed is of the essence. The Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic encounters another large door. 343 Guilty Spark. Please wait here. The Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic approaches another hallway on the second floor. 343 Guilty Spark. Your environment suit should serve you well when the Flood begins to alter the atmosphere. You are a good planner. The Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic once again fights through another hallway. The Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic finds and rides the second platform lift. The Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic goes into the first hallway of the third floor. The Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic comes into another hallway, but this time it's large, open, cavernous. The Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic enters another hallway. Spark once again leaves and returns to the Master Chief alongside Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic. The Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic moves into yet another hallway, but this time with slightly more Flood forms. The Chief alongside Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic rides on the platform lift to the fourth floor. 343 Guilty Spark. The Flood are already hard at work repairing your vessel. Its parasitic nature belies the Flood's intelligence. Scout. If that sounds so, it seems that the Flood will actually become even smarter. Sniper. I have to admit that as well. If they were actually dumb then that's fine, but become a smart that will making a lot difficult. 343 Guilty Spark. I agree, that we can't allow the Flood to evolve or get off this ring as well. Spy. And I'm guessing that this is the more reason to activate Halo's defense systems. Pyro muffled voice. I mean, it seems quite obvious for him to be serious enough for us to actually activate the defense system for the outbreak that we have unleashed. Medic. I know, but why not try an alternate solution by making a cure? The Chief, Scout, Sniper, Spy, Pyro and Medic clears the route to the index platform, fending off several remaining Flood forms. He reaches the platform. The platform moves down to the lowest floor. 343 Guilty Spark. The energy barrier surrounding the index will deactivate when we reach the ground floor. Scout. Well, thank God we managed to make it this far without even getting infected by those undead bastards. Sniper. At least we can finally get the index. 343 Guilty Spark. Precisely, my reclaimers. The index is the key to activate the Halo systems in order to destroy the parasites. Spy. If the index was really worth this trouble, then why not come with an alternative solution in order to come over to cure or vaccine for this bio-outbreak? 343 Guilty Spark. Well, you see, it with your medical opinion was able to come up with a cure, unlike my creators at the time didn't really had much to do in order to have enough time to study it or come up with a cure for about some time. Pyro muffled voice. Well, that explains last thing, that medic was able to come up with a cure quicker than your so-called creators or the forerunners. Medic. Well, of course I can understand that the understand really have enough time it come with a chore because of the outbreak that was happening before we came. The platform's bottom ledges interlock with the ridges below, and it finally comes to a halt. 343 Guilty Spark. You may now retrieve the index. The chief, scout, sniper, spy, pyro and medic walk slowly over to the index, which is held in a protective sheath. The sheath unlocks itself as its sections move outwards before the index itself pops slightly out of the top of the sheath. The chief removes it and stares at it for a moment before 343 Guilty Spark zaps it from the chief's hands and into some sort of trans-dimensional storage chamber inside the monitor's body. Sniper. Oi. What's the big idea, you bloody wanker? 343 Guilty Spark. Protocol requires that I take possession of the index for transport. Your organic form renders you vulnerable to infection. The index must not fall into the hands of the flood before we reach the control room and activate the installation. 343 Guilty Spark said. Control room chief, scout, sniper, spy, pyro and medic went silent only to remember that Cortana and the others were there. Spy whispering. Asterisk, for some weird reason I got a bad feeling that things aren't going to go well with him and Cortana. Asterisk. Scout whispering. You're telling me as well, because I get the feeling that he might actually try to stab us in the back. Asterisk. Spark and the chief alongside scout, sniper, spy, pyro and medic teleport away from the platform. 343 Guilty Spark. The flood is spreading. We must hurry. Fades to black. Chapter number 7. Betrayal. Back at the control room, Heavy and Engineer was surprised to see their fellow teammates along with Master Chief were teleported there alongside an orb-like robot. Engineer rushed directly at 343 Guilty Spark, grabbed them and looked at him with intriguement of scientificness. 343 Guilty Spark. Reclaimer, please let go of me. Engineer. Not so fast, light bulb, I'm so fascinated on how we were creating, how are you able to be float? 343 Guilty Spark. Of course, it seems that you might have not even noticed about it, but we have more urgent things to take care of. Heavy. You care to explain about what exactly is going? Scout. Let's just say the captain and the rest of the crewmates are dead by some infected zombie alien plague. Heavy and Engineer looked directly at Scout with worried. Spy. Yes, it seems that this parasite had feeding on the body and turned them and mutated them. There was no sign of the captain. Engineer. Aw shucks. 343 Guilty Spark gotten out of Engineer's grasp and floated directly towards the control center. 343 Guilty Spark. Anyway, back on topic. Protocol does not allow units with my classification to perform a task as important as the reunification of the index with the core. That final step is reserved for you, Reclaimer. Master Chief takes the index and puts it into a slot on the console. Lights and holograms appear, but then fade. 343 Guilty Spark. Odd. That wasn't supposed to happen. Scout, sniper, spy, pyro and medic looked at each other, which worried on what happened now. Cortana. Oh, really? Scout, sniper, spy, pyro, medic, engineer and heavy were even jumped back by Cortana's outburst. Master Chief. Cortana. Scout. Geez. Sniper. Bloody hell. Cortana. I've spent the last 12 hours cooped up in here, watching you toady about, helping that thing get set to slit our throats. Master Chief. Hold on now, he's a friend. Cortana. Sarcastically, oh. I didn't realize. He's your pal, is he? Your chum. Angrily, do you have any idea what that bastard almost made you do? Master Chief. Yes. Activate Halo's defenses and destroy the flood, which is why we brought the index to the control center. Demoman and Soldier came in and date rolls a surprise as well and shocked to see their fellow mercenaries came back alongside Chief. Demoman. What kind of witchcraft is this? Scout. We can explain later. Right now we have more things to be worried about. Soldier. Yeah, I have to admit that you boys all right, but who the hell is this floating bowling ball? Spy. His name is 343 Guilty Spark. And let's just say he's the monitor of Installation 04, also known as Halo. Soldier. Well, it seems so. Where to get some new information at least. But where's the captain? Scout. Well, you say. Master Chief. Anger. Enough. All the mercenaries jumped back, even Spy. Well, by Master Chief's outburst between both Guilty Spark and Cortana. John 1:17. The flood is spreading. If we activate Halo's defenses, we can wipe them out. Cortana. You have no idea how this ring works, do you? Why, the Forerunners built it. Halo doesn't kill Flood, it kills their food. Humans, Covenant, whatever. We're all equally edible. The only way to stop the Flood is to starve them to death. And that's exactly what Halo is designed to do. Wipe the galaxy clean of all sentient life. What Carolina said shocked the 9 mercenaries, committing genocide against every sentient life in the. Scout shocked. You can't be serious. Heavy shocked. Oh my god. Soldier shocked. Dear god. Spy. I should have known that Halo was actually not just a weapon but also with me to kill all sentient life in the galaxy. Master Chief hesitates, and then turns to 343 Guilty Spark alongside the mercenaries, also looking directly at the monitor. Engineer. Is that all true, bowling ball? 343 Guilty Spark. Pauses. More or less. Technically, this installation's pulse has a maximum effective radius of 25,000 light-years. But, once the others follow suit, this galaxy will be quite devoid of life, or at least any life with sufficient biomass to sustain the flood. Pause. But you already knew that. I mean, how couldn't you? Soldier. So all this time you want us to commit mass genocide to kill every single alien race, especially humanity? Spy. I have to admit your creators did build a massive weapon, but there could have been an alternate way. Medic. That is right, I still have the cure or vaccine, you can say. Heavy. Well, that is good to hear, Doctor. 343 Guilty Spark. Even that little amount of vaccine that you have isn't enough to stop the flood from spreading. Scout. We're not going to let you get away with this. The mercenaries pointed their weapons directly at the monitor. Cortana. Alarmed. Chief, I'm picking up movement. 343 Guilty Spark. Why would you hesitate to do what you have already done? 4 aggressor Sentinels float up behind 343 Guilty Spark, their beams aimed menacingly on the Chief and the mercenaries. Heavy. Little robots are no match against us, men. 343 Guilty Spark. Last time, you asked me, if it were my choice, would I do it? Having had considerable time to ponder your query, my answer has not changed. Scout. As if we're going to allow you to fire the ring. 343 Guilty Spark. Save their heads, dispose of their bodies later. 343 Guilty Spark teleports away. The Chief and the mercenaries raise their weapons directly at the Sentinels. Chief and the mercenaries were able to dispose of the Sentinels. Engineer went to the control of the door to open it to see Grunts and Elites fight against the Sentinels. Luckily for Demoman was able to put on a sticky trap enough to destroy both the Covenants and the Sentinels. Cortana. We can't let the monitor activate Halo. We have to stop him, we have to destroy Halo. According to my analysis of the available data, I believe the best course of action is somewhat risky. An explosion of sufficient size will help destabilize the ring, and will cut through a number of primary systems. We need to trigger a detonation on a large scale, however. A starship's fusion reactors going critical would do the job. I'm going to search what's left of the Covenant BattleNet, and see if I can locate the Pillar of Autumn's crash site. If the ship's fusion reactors are still relatively intact, we can use them to destroy Halo. Engineer. As if we're going to need a field to destroy this darn ring. Soon the Master Chief along with the mercenaries exits the structure into the snowy night sky. Cortana. I haven't located the crash site yet, but we need to buy some time, in case the Monitor or his Sentinels find a way to activate Halo's final weapon, without the Index. The machinery in these canyons are Halo's primary firing mechanisms. They consist of 3-phase pulse generators that amplify Halo's signal, and allow it to fire deep into space. The power levels are enormous. I can't even begin to calculate the pulse's range. So, if we damage or destroy these generators, the monitor will need to repair them before Halo can be used. That should buy us some time. I'm marking the location of the nearest pulse generator with a nav point. We need to move in and neutralize the device. The Spartan and the mercenaries heads down the pyramid structure, eliminating more Covenant patrols. Cortana, wait, we should commandeer one of those Banshees, we'll need it to reach the pulse generator in time. A Sanghaili enters. A Wraith demoman used sticky bombs directly at Wraith, enough for to be detonated and destroying the Covenant vehicle. Chief and the mercenaries commandeer two of the Banshees to fly off to platform protruding from the cliff, clears a lance of Covenant guarding it, and enters the room containing the phase pulse generator. The chief among with the mercenaries continue making their way to the first pulse generator. However, many infection combat forms also came as well. However, one of the parasites latched onto Scout's right arm. Scout in pain. GGG ga aahhh. Medic saw Scout getting almost turning into an infection combat form. Medic ran towards Scout and injected the antidote directly into him, making the cure work. Scout to Medic, thanks Doc. Medic to Scout, no problem. The chief alongside the mercenaries continued fighting against Covenants and infection forms. They continued making their way out of the first floor back into the elevator, where more infection forms were able to be shoot down by the mercenaries and the chief. The chief alongside the mercenaries continue running to make it to a lower level against Covenant and infection forms were getting slaughtered by the Spartan and the mercenaries. When the moment the Spartan alongside the mercenaries came out the structure, a large Covenant force defends the area, including a Wraith tank, several shades and numerous infantry. The chief, alongside the mercenaries, manages to kill them all and leaves the area. Proceeding past the area where a warthog lies overturned, the Spartan continues to the next area where he fights through another large contingent of Covenant forces, including another Wraith and two Mgalakgolo. Eventually the chief alongside the mercenaries is able to defeat all hostiles present, allowing him to commandeer a Banshee. The chief uses the fighter to wipe out several Ungoi-operated shade turrets as well as several fuel rod gun wielders and their Sanghaili zealot commander. Soldier, well, that take care of their defense. Medic, let's move. Scour, and it seems that we're near that pulse generator thing. Heavy, yeah, it certainly seems in there. The chief and the mercenaries enters the second generator room. An intense fight between flood combat forms against the Sentinels. Soldier, well, this certainly seems to be a bit of a problem. Scout, I agree, seen it, the flood combat forms fight against the Sentinels to get to the generator. Demoman, don't worry lads, I have the answer for the situation. Demoman got out the bad trip and started firing multiple sticky bombs directly between flood combat forms and Sentinels for an explosion to destroy both of them into oblivion. The room itself was a mess within flood body parts and Sentinel machine parts scattered across the room. Master Chief, good work with that plan of yours. Sniper, hurry up and get to the generator while we cover your rear. Scout, that's right, move it big guy. Soldier, I'm ready for those mutated maggots to come at us. The chief steps into the generator and disables the generator. Flood combat forms jumps out from the holes, however, from being shooting down from the mercenaries, including several wielding heavy weapons, only for them to be shot down by the mercenaries and chief into scrap metal. Cortana, that did it. The pulse generator overloaded. One more to go. After clearing the room, the chief returns outside. Chief got on the first Banshee while the mercenaries ride on the second Banshee. Cortana, I've located the Pillar of Autumn. She put down 1200 kilometers upspin. Energy readings show her fusion reactors are still powered up. The systems on the Pillar of Autumn have fail-safes that even I can't override, without authorization from the captain. We'll need to find him or his neural implants, to start the fusion core detonation. One target remaining. Let's take care of the final pulse generator. Scout, well, since we've finally got ourselves some good news. Medic, but right now we need to get to the third and final pulse generator. Soldier, don't worry man, we will make it to the Pillar of Autumn. Heavy, but first we have to take care of finding the captain. Spy, seen that he's already been captured by the Covenant already. Sniper, so that means we'll have to go back into the ship. Engineer, I agree, seen that we have no other choice but to get back there. The chief and the mercenary using the two banshees to fly down into the tunnel leading to the third pulse generator. A large number of Covenant troops are embroiled in a struggle with yet more flood forms in the tunnel. Eventually killing all combatants as well as several more rocket launcher-wielding combat forms further down the passage, the chief and the mercenaries finds another closed door. The door malfunctions, however, forcing the chief and the mercenaries to leave whatever vehicle he was using. Fighting his way through more flood forms, the chief and the mercenaries eventually manages to leave the tunnel and exits into the third canyon. The chief and the mercenaries witnesses a group of Covenant led by two Sangheili zealots making a stand on a hill against hugely overwhelming numbers of flood. Eliminating the survivors, the chief exits into another valley where yet another battle is taking place. A nearby cave opening hosts a large supply of abandoned UNSC weapons and ammunition, allowing the Spartan the opportunity to resupply. Engineer used to dispenser to help their teammates to get fully on health and supplies for their weapons to be on 100%. Heavy. Engineer's credit to team. Scout. Good job hard hat. Engineer. That's nothing, boys. Engineer packs up the toolbox to put it back for the rest of them to continue going, allowing the Spartan and the mercenaries opportunity to resupply. Eventually the chief and the mercenaries enters a final valley where a group of flood throw themselves at a mass of Covenant defenses, including two Wraith tanks, several shade turrets and a large number of assorted infantry being commanded by a Sangheili zealot. Later in the battle, a squad of stealth Sangheili as well as another zealot, a Mgalakgolo pair and more infantry emerge. After a protracted battle, the chief and the mercenaries is able to kill all foes in the area and enter a Banshee fighter. He flies to the platform that leads to the third generator. Sentinel aggressors appear and fire at him. As he arrives at the room containing the third generator, aggressors with energy shielding appear. He eliminates the aggressors and disables the final generator. The chief and the mercenaries stares at the generator. After a while, he turns away. John 1:17. Let's find a ride and get to the captain. Cortana. No, that'll take too long. The chief and the mercenaries turns back. John 1:17. You have a better idea. Heavy. I agreed, I will take too long to get to the captain. Scout. I wonder what her idea would be. Cortana. There's a teleportation grid that runs throughout Halo. That's how the monitor moves about so quickly. I learned how to tap into the grid when I was in the control center. Unfortunately, each jump requires a rather consequential expenditure of energy. John 1:17. Something tells me I'm not gonna like this. Heavy. I agree as well. Soldier. Well, literally seems to be the first time using the teleporter grid. Demoman. It's just like using the teleport in a different way. Medic. Well, since we have no other options. Cortana. But I'm pretty sure I can take the needed energy from your suit without permanently damaging your shields. Needless to say, I think we should only try this once. John 1:17. Do it. Master Chief and the mercenaries is teleported away. Fades to black. Chapter number 8, The Captain. Canyon filled with pools of reactor coolant under the Truth and Reconciliation. The Ket pattern battlecruiser is resting on the top of the canyon, heavily damaged. The Flood and Covenant forces are fighting all throughout the region. Cortana. The Covenant network is in absolute chaos. From what I've been able to piece together, their leadership ordered all ships to abandon Halo when they found the Flood, but they were too late. The Flood overwhelmed this cruiser and disabled it. The Covenant are terrified the Flood will repair the ship and use it to escape from Halo. They've sent in a strike team to neutralize the Flood and repair the ship for immediate departure. I've got a good lock on Captain Key's night transponder signal. He's alive, and the implants are intact. There's some interference from the cruiser's damaged reactor. I'll bring us in as close as I can. John 1:17 teleports into the end of a corridor in the cruiser. The view flips over, upside down, and the Master Chief and the mercenaries falls on his head. He was teleported in upside down. Heavy. Tell me, where did we go so wrong? Scout. Ah, geez. Soldier grumbles. Spy. Merd. Sniper. That was rubbish. Demoman. Cripe. Engineer. Now I've seen everything. Medic. Dumko PFS. Pyro muscle voice. The hell? Cortana. Oh, I see, the coordinate data needs to be. The Master Chief whacks the side of his head with his fist as he stands up. along with the other mercenaries got up from the teleporter encounter. Cortana. Right. Sorry. The chief and the mercenaries begins to walk down the hallway. Captain Jacob keys calm. Weakly, Chief. Mercenaries. Don't be a fool. Leave me. Cortana. Captain. I've lost him. Chief and mercenaries continued walking. Scene at the whole interior of the ship was a wreck. Scout. We'll talk about they're really messed up. Of taking care of the ship. Heavy. I know little alien men really are stupid. Sniper. Certainly seems that those alien blokes really have no idea that they really have unleashed a shadow infection into the universe. Spy. But don't worry, seen that the infection will be obliterated. Demo man. But see, now we only have kind of response from the captain and telling us to leave. Soldier. Yeah, seems a signal is kind of weak. The chief and the mercenaries encounters a small group of Ongoi fighting the flood. They are soon overwhelmed. The chief and the mercenaries eliminates the flood, continues down the hallway, and gets to one of the hangar bays. A large hole in the floor is just past the door, blocking the chief's and the mercenaries' progress. Several Sanghaili are present in the area beyond, fighting more flood. Scout. Oh crap. Heavy. This is a bad. Medic. Well, this really is a bit of a big problem. Soldier. Even if I could rocket jump, it won't work. Pyro muffling voice. I only have a check pack and only I can be able to fly in a limit distance. Demo man. It seems that the only way to jump down. Master Chief. It seems we have no other choice. Sniper. Well, it's now or never. Spy. Well, this is the first time we jumped on something so far high. Chief and the mercenaries jump down, falling into large pool of coolant, which breaks their fall. View begins under coolant. Covenant and Flood are heavily engaged around the pool. Cortana. Let's get out of here, and find another way back aboard the ship. Demo man. Well, you don't have to tell us that twice. The chief and the mercenaries navigates the area, interrupting fights between beleaguered Covenant troops and Flood forms. Cortana. We should head this way, towards the ship's gravity lift. A navigation point appears on the chief's and the mercenaries' heads-up display. He continues to head toward the gravity lift. Eventually reaching an overhang, the chief and the mercenaries is able to see a pair of Mgalakgolo engaged with masses of flood carrier forms. Cortana. The crash did more damage than I suspected. Analyzing. Coolant leakage rate is significant. The ship's reactor should already have gone critical. Demo man. Don't allow me to do the final big bang. Soldier. Not increasing that, we have to let that alien ship go kaboom to smittering. The chief and the mercenaries fights his way through more Covenant and Flood forces until he finally reaches the gravity lift. Several Sanghaili and Ongoi furiously defend the gravity lift from increasing numbers of Flood, desperately trying to prevent the parasitic creatures from entering the Truth and Reconciliation. Cortana. Power source detected. There's the gravity lift. It's still operational. That's our way back in. Once the area is cleared, the chief and the mercenaries takes the gravity lift back inside the ship. The chief and the mercenaries, standing in the gravity lift, looks up and flies up into the Truth and Reconciliation. The chief and the mercenaries arrives at the gravity lift bay, which is strewn with dead Covenant troops. Blood is splattered all around. A few infection forms wander around. Heavy. So much blood. Scout. Jesus Christ, talk about walking into a horror movie. Cortana. We should be able to get into the ship's control room from here. The chief and the mercenaries finds an unlocked door and walks through it. Fighting his way through multiple flood carrier forms, the Spartan and the mercenaries eventually reaches the nav point. It turns out to be a cargo bay. Flood forms walk around the area, guarding the corpses of dead Covenant troops in the corners. Cortana. Look, in the corners. The Flood are gathering bodies here. After fighting through hordes of Flood, the chief and the mercenaries finds more living Covenant. He continues on, reaching the shuttle bay. Cortana. Look, in the corners. The Flood are gathering bodies here. Scout. This is even more horrifying. Soldier. Yeah, talk about the stuff that Marasmus does was even weird, but this was just horrifying. Demo man. How much I missed fighting against that wizard and the undead of Halloween Day. Sniper. We can worry about the old days right now, we need to find a captain. After fighting through hordes of Flood, the chief and the mercenaries finds more living Covenant. He continues on, reaching the shuttle bay. Keys calm. Pained eye. Gave you an order, soldier. Now pull out. Demoman. He's in so much pain. Heavy. Do you think you could be infected? Medic. Well, I'm not sure if the vaccine could actually work if the person's actually completely affected by the flood. Pyro muffled voice. This is really bad. If we can't be able to bring the captain back to his normal. A group of Sanghaili hold the center of the shuttle bay, using a shade turret to provide supporting fire while a single Mgalakgolo and other Covenant troops fight the flood in the corridors. The chief and the mercenaries ascends through the corridors and reaches the third floor. Cortana. The control room should be this way. Medic used his medic gun to uber charge heavy, killing off every enemy in his path. A spirit dropship enters the open shuttle bay doors and disperses a group of black armored Covenant soldiers in the lowest area of the bay. The chief and the mercenaries battles through more flood, guarding the open door that the navigation point directs him to. Killing all hostiles, the chief and the mercenaries follows the navigation point, venturing deeper into the chaotic hallways. Keyes screams over the comm channel in agony. Cortana. The captain. His vitals are fading. Please, chief, hurry. The chief and the mercenaries eliminates both Covenant troops and flood forms outside the bridge. He then enters the bridge and walks up the ramp leading to the command center. For the red mercenaries did not want to see the sight in front of them was so disturbing. The chief and the mercenaries aimed their weapon at the proto-grave mind sitting on the command center in the bridge as he walks up to the raised platform. The captain's face sticks out of it, with his body dangling below, deformed. Heavy. Oh my god. Soldier. Dear God. Sniper. Bloody hell. Scout. We are too late. Spy. Doc. Can you use the antidote to on him? Medic. I'm sorry, but I don't think the vaccine would work seeing that he has been infected into something called a proto-gravemind. Soldier. A proto-gravemind. Medic. Well, it's kind of like a hive mind for the infected forms for the flood, meaning that they're becoming a bit smarter, and that is very concerning for us. Scout. Where is Demoman? Soldier. I think he was about to set up bombs in the core of the ship. Master Chief punches into Keyes' skull, sticking his hand inside. The mercenary saw Chief punch through the infected captain. They all were shocked and disgusted at the same time, but they knew that they had to get the implant neural system. He pulls out the neural implants, shakes the flood biomass off of them, and inserts them into his helmet. Cortana. Quietly, it's done, I have the code. We should go. Demoman had enough sticky bombs in the core of the ship to go boom, killing off both the Covenant and the flood-infected forms. Demoman activated the timer and ran as quickly as possible. Cortana. We need to get back to the Pillar of Autumn. Let's go back to the shuttle bay and find a ride. Side doors open and hordes of flood forms charge into the bridge. At the same time, the doors the chief and the mercenaries entered through open up to reveal a Covenant special operations team. A huge firefight ensues. Demoman ran as quickly as possible, killing off every single Covenant and flood infection form, blowing them and cutting them off, reaching to the docking bay of the alien ship. Once Demoman reunited with the other mercenaries and the chief returns to the shuttle bay, another Covenant spirit dropship enters the hangar, dropping off more troops, escorted by 2 Banshees. The Banshees land, and their Sanghaili pilots jump out. Master Chief was able to commandeer the Banshee while the mercenaries were able to take over to Spirit by killing the pilot of the ship, for 2 attempt to escape. Luckily Demoman in the Spirit activated the detonator for the bomb to hit the zero for the whole Truth and Reconciliation in engulf in a massive blast, killing off every single Covenant and flood infection form. With that finally out of the way, Master Chief and the mercenaries in their air vehicles flew off to the Pillar of Autumn to destroy Halo. Chapter number 9. An escape with a bang. A large body of water, tinted gold by an oncoming sunrise. View slowly pans up as it flies over the sand, revealing a burnt coastline, and a giant gouge where the terrain has been ripped away and the sea has flooded into the newly formed canyon. At the top of that canyon rises the massive stern of the UNSC Pillar of Autumn, relatively intact. View circles around the side and front of her, revealing that her nose is hanging just slightly off a massive cliff. The antennae along the bow have been bent and torn away. The entire bow has been severely burnt, the metal is badly scarred. As the view circles around to reveal the ship's starboard side, a damaged and smoking Banshee and the Spirit drifts into view. The Banshee drops just before reaching the Bumblebee slip and smashes into the side of the Pillar of Autumn, sending debris and fire hurling out madly. Cortana. You did that on purpose, didn't you? The Master Chief's hand appears from below and grips the edge of the ship, and he looks around the interior before pulling himself up and onto the Pillar of Autumn. However, for the Spirit crashed into the part close to where Chief crashed the Banshee. Luckily for the mercenaries were able to make it alive thanks to Medic's healing gun. Heavy talk, but I was the bumpiest ride compared to the teleporter. Engineer. At least we're all still together in one piece. Demo man. Yeah, luckily we're about to destroy the ship and the ring itself. As the Master Chief and the mercenaries heads for the bridge, he is forced to engage Covenant, Flood, and Sentinels as they battle throughout the corridors. The Pillar of Autumn's mess hall is occupied by a Covenant Special Operations team. The Chief kills all enemies present and eventually, he reaches the bridge. Cortana. The bridge. We made it. Let's get to work. The Master Chief clears out another Covenant Special Operations team guarding the bridge. Cortana. I need you to upload me into the control systems. The terminal is located next to the main view screen. The Master Chief takes Cortana's chip from his helmet and inserts it into the cylindrical terminal near the front of the bridge. Cortana's avatar appears above it. She looks around. Cortana. I leave home for a few days, and look what happens. This won't take long. She concentrates for a moment, and the main screen flickers to life. Self-destruct sequence initiated. Security protocols met. Begin evac procedures. All secondary and redundant systems shut down effective immediately. A countdown begins from a random starting point between 5 and 20 minutes. Heavy. Well, actually seems good enough. Cortana. There. That should give us enough time to make it to a lifeboat and put some distance between ourselves and Halo before the detonation. Scout. Sounds good enough for all of us. The Master Chief moves to unplug Cortana from the terminal, but stops abruptly when they hears an all too familiar voice. 343 Guilty Spark Com. I'm afraid that's out of the question, really. Scout. You have got to be kidding me. Demo man. Bloody hell. Medic. Dumco PFS. Spy. Merd. Pyro angry muffling voice. The hell. Sniper. You bloody wanker. Cortana. Oh, hell. 343 Guilty Spark Com. Ridiculous. That you would imbue a warship's AI with such a wealth of knowledge. Weren't you worried it might be captured? Or destroyed? Cortana concentrates once more. Cortana. He's in my data arrays, a local tap. Cuts to 343 Guilty Spark in the engine room. He is scanning a computer console. 343 Guilty Spark. You can't imagine how exciting this is. To have a record of all of our lost time. Human history, is it? Fascinating. 343 Guilty Spark flutters around engineering, as groups of Sentinels hover around in the background, and scans another console. 343 Guilty Spark. Oh, how I will enjoy every moment of its categorization. And to think that you would destroy this installation, as well as this record. I am shocked. Almost too shocked for words. Cuts back to the bridge. A tone sounds over the ship's speakers. The countdown timer freezes. Self-destruct sequence aborted. Security protocols restored. Return to duty stations. All systems reset. Demo man. What just happened? Engineer. That just ain't right. Spy. Not our finest moment. Medic. Schweinhunds. Heavy. How could this happen? Scout. He stopped the self-destruction. The Master Chief surveys the bridge carefully with his assault rifle, never missing a beat. 343 Guilty Spark Com. Why do you continue to fight us, Reclaimer? You cannot win. Give us the construct, and I will endeavor to make your death relatively painless, and... He is cut off as another tone sounds. Cortana. At least I still have control over the comm channels. John 117. Where is he? Cortana. I'm detecting taps throughout the ship. Sentinels, most likely. As for the monitor, he's in engineering. He must be trying to take the core offline. Even if I could get the countdown restarted. I don't know what to do. Cortana shrugs her arms in desperation. John 117. How much firepower would you need to crack one of the engine's shields? Cortana. Not much. A well-placed grenade perhaps, but why? Chief, Soldier and Demoman to have explosives with them. Demoman, hey Adam, lads. Cortana, okay, I'm coming with you. The chief reaches for Cortana just as a squad of aggressor Sentinels descend from above and take position along the shattered windows of the bridge. Cortana, Chief, Mercenaries, Sentinels. The Sentinels open fire, shattering the main display and dealing a glancing blow to the chief's shields. The rest of the mercenaries also doctor behind the quickest thing to dodge the beams of the Sentinels. The chief quickly drops behind cover, removes Cortana from the terminal and places her into his helmet, and raises his rifle. The chief and the mercenaries dispatches the Sentinels and leaves the bridge. Cortana, the ship was heavily damaged when it crashed. Head to the cryo chamber. We should be able to get to the engine room through there. The chief and the mercenaries heads for engineering, fighting through a massive flood, as well as more Covenant and Sentinels. Eventually he reaches a corridor lined with stationary shield generators where a Covenant Special Operations team augmented by a Mgalakgolo pair hold off against waves of Sentinels and later, flood. After eliminating all combatants, the chief and the mercenaries makes a brief detour to the ship's armory to stock up on weapons. Inside the armory, he is ambushed by a group of flood, including several cloaked combat forms presumably infected stealth Sangheili. He defeats these enemies and hurries to engineering. Cortana, engine room located. We're here. Demoman, time to cause a massive explosion. Engineer, it's time to cause some mayhem. Heavy, time for these coward babies to be sent home to their mamas. The chief and the mercenaries enters engineering, which is crawling with flood and Sentinels. 343 Guilty Spark is also present. Medic and 343 Guilty Spark were having a bit of argument with each other. Medic, it looks like Dumpipfest. 343 Guilty Spark, you reclaimers dare destroy my installation. See that I granted you to come to my installation and now you just want to destroy it. Medic, is 0 point to your lives. You Dumpco PFS. 343 Guilty Spark, how dare you make a mockery. Korea sing at the recliners were meant to be. Humanity deserves the technology, but now I'm rather mistaken by your kind arrogance. Medic, was East loss. Going for the rest of mercenaries and chief were able to destroy the fusion reactor cores enough for to go critical. Engineer, medic, we have to get going. Medic ran directly towards where did the rest of his full mercenaries and achieve for going. 343 Guilty Spark, this isn't the last time you seen me. The chief and the mercenaries reaches the elevator. A Covenant Special Operations team, led by Zuka, Zamami, descends to meet him. He defeats the Covenant and starts the long ride up. Cortana calm. Cortana to Echo 419. Come in, Echo 419. Flight Captain Carol Raleigh calm. Roger, Cortana. I read you, 5 by 5. Cortana calm. The Pillar of Autumn's engines are going critical, Faux Hammer. Request immediate extraction. Approach the crash site and be ready to pick us up at External Access Junction 4C as soon as you get my signal. Raleigh calm. Affirmative. Echo 419 going on station. Explosions continue to rock the elevator shaft. Raleigh calm. Echo 419 to Cortana. Things are getting noisy down there. Everything okay? Cortana calm. Negative, negative. We have a wildcat destabilization of the ship's fusion drive core. The engines must have sustained more damage than we thought. The chief and the mercenaries reaches the top of the elevator. The chief enters a Warthog garage, with the mercenaries crammed in a second Warthog and floor it. But the two Warthogs drove off non-stop, making sure that they don't want to get caught up in the explosion when it goes down to 0. The chief and the mercenaries arrives at a wide open platform. Cortana, wait, stop. This is where Faux Hammer is coming to pick us up. Hold position here. The countdown timer freezes. Echo 419 appears around the hull of the Pillar of Autumn, listing badly and flaming at the engines. A pair of Banshees close in on the Pelican. The countdown timer freezes. Echo 419 appears around the hull of the Pillar of Autumn, listing badly and flaming at the engines. A pair of Banshees close in on the Pelican. Cortana calm. Cortana to Echo 419. 2 Covenant Banshees are approaching on your 6. Evade. Say again, evade. An explosion lurches the Pelican. The starboard wing dips, ablaze, and Raleigh yells into the speaker as she passes under the platform. Raleigh calm. I'm hit. Mayday! Mayday! Airfoil structures have been shot to hell. I can't hold her. I can't hold her. Cortana calm. Echo 419. Raleigh continues to yell into the speaker, her words becoming inaudible as the roar of the damaged engines are heard in the background. She loses control of the Pelican and crashes into the Autumn's hull, showering the air with debris. Soldier. You were good son, maybe even the best. Spy. Goodbye, the best pilot to serve your people. Cortana. She's gone. Calculating alternate escape route. The chief and the mercenaries comes around the final S-curve in the corridor. Cortana. Chief, up ahead there's a gap in the trench. At top speed, we should be able to clear it. The chief and the mercenaries clears the massive gap, and proceeds to his destination. In Launch Bay 7, Flood and Covenant remnants fight for supremacy. The Longsword fighter is docked at the bay's far end. A barricade forces the chief and the mercenaries to dismount from the warthogs and finish the journey on foot. Cortana. That's the ship. Move. We need to get aboard, now. Chief and the mercenaries made a mad dash directly towards the Longsword, while the mercenaries shot down the Flood combat forms from coming closer Longsword, the ramp of the Longsword down. Cortana. We're cutting it close. The chief and engineer sprints for the cockpit. He braces himself against a wall as an explosion occurs, shaking his head. He reaches the cockpit, jumps into the seat, quickly punches a series of buttons, and takes the controls. John 1:17, here we go. The Longsword rises above the platform slowly, turning to face the open end of the bay, and lights its engines, rocketing away from the exploding ship. Exterior view of the Pillar of Autumn, as it burns and explosions flare all along its length. A horde of Flood stumble slowly towards it, and the Longsword arrows from the starboard side of the ship away into the sky. The view cuts to follow the Longsword, looking back towards the Pillar of Autumn as the explosions intensify. The Longsword clears the atmosphere, flying away from Halo. The Master Chief stares straight ahead, piloting the fighter as quickly as he can. As the Longsword sweeps past the view, the distant side of Halo is drowned out in a blinding explosion as the Pillar of Autumn's engines detonate. A massive shockwave sweeps through the installation. With its structural integrity compromised, the rotating ringworld begins to fragment. An alarm in the Longsword goes off. Mercenaries hold on cement. The ship itself was so fast from escaping the ring from going kaboom. Engine temp critical. Cortana. Shut them down, we'll need them later. The chief and the mercenaries flips a few switches. The Longsword's engines shut down, leaving it drifting. Debris from the blast hurtles past it, still glowing. Cortana. Fancy a look. The Master Chief and the mercenaries rises from his chair and moves to one of the Longsword's windows. Halo has broken into a few dozen large fragments, all of which are slowly spinning away from each other. As the chief and the mercenaries watches, one massive fragment comes swiftly from the far side of the ring and collides with another, closer one, splitting it in half, and the two go spinning off in a giant gout of fire and debris. Silent explosions spread throughout Halo's remains. The ring has been destroyed. John 1:17, did anyone else make it? Cortana. Scanning. Pause. Just dust and echoes. We're all that's left. The Master Chief shakes his head and moves back to his seat. The rest of the other mercenaries look down in despair, realize that no one else did made it except for them and the chief. Cortana. We did what we had to do, for Earth. An entire Covenant armada obliterated, and the Flood. We had no choice. Halo, it's finished. Scout. I really hope so, seeing that this has been one heck of a crazy adventure. Demoman. I agree, we have been on so many other adventures compared to this one. John 1:17, number. I think we're just getting started. Heavy. You're right, this is only just the beginning. Engineer. You're right, something has been set in motion. Pyro muffled voice. Yeah, meaning something else about to happen. The chief removes his helmet, but the cockpit's frame blocks the view of his head. The view tracks the Longsword for a few moments, bases looming large in the background, before panning to focus on a large spiral galaxy hanging in the sky, an ornament emblazoned across the heavens. Fades to black. Epilogue. Return to Earth. Couple of years pass by since the events that happened of the explosion of the Halo ring. Master Chief and the mercenaries inside of the Longsword. However, they were able to receive a signal from a UNSC Earth defense platform. Master Chief response to the signal, UNSC Earth Defense Platform. A group of UNSC ships escorted Longsword to Earth Defense Platform. The other mercenaries looked looking outside in amazement to see Earth Defense Platform. Longsword was docking in Earth Defense Platform, Cairo. Many of the UNSC soldiers were surprised to see Chief with a group of other men with strange attires and weapons with them. Terrence Hood was happy and surprised to see Chief among with the other group of people. However, let's just say the TF2 mercs explained about the whole backstory and where they come from. Alternate version of Earth of an accident took them to this universe. Terrence Hood and the UNSC soldiers were shocked and even disbelief. Terrence Hood decided to welcome the TF2 mercs to become part of the UNSC military group. The TF2 mercs couldn't help but be happy that they were accepted become part of UNSC military group. However, they decided to take some RR for the time, seeing that they had a bit of a long and intense battle on the Halo ring. All except for Scout, seen that you was the one who was infected by the flood. Infected forms keep on getting horrific nightmare of something torturing his mom and Spy, also known his dad. Scout felt like he was in a wreck ever since he got infected by the flood. Infected, he kept on having this horrific nightmare. Luckily for the others, Engineer was showing off his buildings of the dispenser. Sentry and Teleporter showing UNSC soldiers were surprised and impressed. Medic showing off his medic gun to heal the wounded soldiers there surprised them even more to see something like this ever existed. Terrence Hood was rather impressed by the arrival the TF2 mercs. Terrence Hood decided to send the Master Chief to give himself some upgrades. Terrence Hood, known as something big is about to happen, shift this war itself. The end of Combat Evolve arc. And this is the end of the movie of this What If. I hope you guys like it. Don't really leave a comment down below and subscribe to the channel.